As April Fool's Day draws to a close, no joking around here. It's all business as the Oakland Roots host New Mexico United from Cal State University East Bay in Hayward, California. Alongside veteran USL analyst Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malvo. We are delighted to have you with us tonight as we're going to find out a lot more about these two teams who have barely taken the field this year. Just one match played so far for New Mexico, only two for Oakland. So down near the bottom, don't pay too much attention to the standings. Very early going to learn a lot tonight.
Well, there's one thing for sure. Both of these teams, they want to play. They want to get on the field. They have an opportunity here tonight. Yes, they're looking down in the standings, but, you know, they have an opportunity to climb. It's still very early on.
And when they meet, magic happens. They've played three terrific games in the club histories for both of these teams.
Well, throughout the years, they have been able to have competitive rosters, and that's the case for tonight. You know, they have a lot of quality. Some of the same names remain from those three matches. They're still available, and they can have an impact in tonight's match.
And one of those big impact players is Eduardo Rito, who has a goal to his name in his career against New Mexico United. And he is an all-league first-team player, had the assist on their goal to equalize against RGV.
Man, he's looking really, really good. From the first day of the season, obviously you can tell he had a good preseason as well. Just physically looks different, sharp, and just, you know, as dynamic as I think we have been able to see him since, you know, he played here in USL Championship for Oakland Roots.
It's not often that a team goes as its right back goes, but that's the case for Rito.
Yeah, it's just an outstanding player, and, you know, up and down the field, you can give him defensive responsibilities as well.
On the other side, Justin Portillo, equally as important to this New Mexico United team. Last year, his first year with the club, he won team MVP, he won offensive MVP. He did it all for this club.
Well, because he's that connection between the backline and the midfielders, you know, he starts the build-up for this team. He's very good with the ball. He knows when to move forward. He's not going to score a lot, but he can become a scoring option at times. So solid player, very, very important when it comes to the system that New Mexico will play here tonight.
It's not Oakland's normal home, but they're going to make it feel like home. Plenty of fans in attendance here at Cal State University East Bay, hoping to come away with their first ever win over New Mexico United. It's all coming up in just a few moments.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
The mission of Fertile Groundworks is of teach, grow, give. Teach people how to grow food for themselves, grow it, and then give it away to people who need it. We grow about 25,000 pounds of food a year. We also operate something we call the Sustainable School Garden Program. Teachers ask us for help setting up a garden on their own campuses. East Bay Community Energy was nice enough to give us $2,500 that we were able to focus on one of our school gardens, and I am truly grateful.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
If Damian Lillard accepted his spot at the end of the bench, he never would have been at the rec center before it opened. If he listened to those who overlooked him, he never would have heard his name called as a first-round pick. And if he let 6 all-star selections go to his head, he never would have had the heart to give back to the streets that shaped him. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross. UCSF, and Modelo. Take a look at the starting lineups tonight, brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. For Noah Delgado, it's the same 11 for Oakland as they trotted out there 2 weeks ago.
Well, absolutely, and it's great news because it brings you to continuation, which is something that you want even though you're early. Obviously, very important, you know, in the backline, Clementa, Mora, and Barber, players that we all know, and the quality that they bring. And at the top, obviously, a lot of quality with Pelaez.
And for Zach Prince in New Mexico, one change in the 11. We'll get to the reason why, but Chris Wehan comes in.
Yeah, 4-2-3-1, obviously, Hamilton and Portillo. Very important, especially when you're playing on the road. And Hurst, you know, looking for opportunities. The counterattack, I don't know if that's their style, but it might be an opportunity for them tonight.
And for the first time ever, the Oakland Roots on the turf at Cal State University, East Bay in Hayward, California, from right to left in the black. New Mexico left to right in the yellow. Temporary home for the Roots after last week's game was postponed against Memphis. And we're underway. Alongside Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us this evening. Fourth ever meeting between Oakland and New Mexico. 2 draws, 1 New Mexico win. Oakland looking to level that score all time and pick up their first victory of the season in the process. All the way back to Paul Blanchette on this artificial surface here at Pioneer Stadium. We'll take a look at tonight's injury report, brought to you by UCSF Health and UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. The big injury here for New Mexico is Christian Nava. The bad news came out of camp this week, and that's the reason for the one change in the 11 with Chris Wehan coming in. The 19-year-old budding star on Monday tore his ACL in practice. A speedy recovery for Christian Nava, hopefully. Last year, just jumped in for New Mexico and turned some heads. He actually victimized Oakland in that game last year. That 2-1 win for New Mexico. Both goals for United came after he subbed in the second half. Yeah. So dynamic, and all the best to him in his recovery.
Yeah, just a very unfortunate situation, especially early in the season. You know, you work hard during preseason trying to get yourself ready to go, and something like this happens. Yes, it is part of the game, but still hard.
And especially mentally difficult for a 19-year-old who's ready to take that next step in his career. Formella back for Blanchette. This Oakland team at times looked the better side in their opener on the road against San Antonio. They were on the wrong end of 2 of the most ridiculous goals you'll see all season. Lamar Batista, the author of both of those for San Antonio. One a bicycle kick right before halftime. The other a clearance from midfield that after the ball left his foot, he raised his right hand in apology to the forward, and the wind took it past Paul Blanchette and in. So all that told, a 3-1 loss for Oakland that night. That shouldn't have been as lopsided as it was, and they were a better team at times. And then in their last meeting against RGV, a 1-1 draw, very easily could have been a victory. At the very last moment, they hit the crossbar. Trayvon Reed at the back post, wide open. One of those that's harder to miss than it is to make. And one that he'll hopefully have a chance to rectify as the season goes along. You know, that didn't sit well with him afterwards. But they have been solid despite the 0-1-1 start. And New Mexico, on the other hand, they begin the season 1-0. Had their match on March 18th. Haven't played since. We'll see what they bring here in game 2. The sample size is 1. Can't make any judgments on them just quite yet. And an early corner here for Oakland.
A good opportunity here early on and set pieces. You know, they haven't had a lot of possession. Obviously, it's only 3 minutes into the game. But, you know, if you have an opportunity to get numbers inside the box, especially playing at home, you're able to score that first goal, get some of that pressure off, then, you know, this is a good opportunity here.
And here at Cal State University East Bay, corners are brought to you by East Bay Community Energy. Visit ebce.org to find out more. Lindell Mafeka positions it. And we'll drive it low, top of the box here, set play. Donaciano, you can see what the intent was. Didn't work out exactly as they had hoped.
Yeah, you know, when you see 2 players get close to the corner flag for a corner kick, you know, it's something that they have been working on during the week. This time it didn't work, but it's good to see Oakland Roots trying to take advantage of those chances that, you know, at times can really change the outcome of a game.
It is a little bit smaller here than it is at Laney for Oakland. Laney is 120 by 75. At this field, it's 118 by 74. So they lose a yard on either end of the field and a half yard in terms of the width on both sides of the field. So it shouldn't be too different for them as far as their typical home grounds. But something to keep in mind as the night grows longer. A much smaller field than many of the others around USL, although New Mexico playing at home on a baseball field at Isotope Park should not be unaccustomed to the cozy confines.
Oh, yep, absolutely. And you know, when you're playing USL Championship and you go on the road, you know, you're going to face different challenges. And, you know, this is another one for New Mexico. Like it will happen later on, I'm sure, for Oakland and some other place around the country.
Diaz nods it along. Finds the still masked Lindo Mafeka. Picked up a broken nose late in preseason. Has been wearing the mask ever since. Had a chat with Noah Delgado, the Oakland head coach, this week. We asked him which player on the field reminded him of himself the most. And he actually pondered it for a while because he felt, and he wasn't saying this in any sort of braggadocious way, just felt that he was such a unique player and what he brought to the team in terms of his leadership and the way he played. As Blanchette has to deal with an awkward bounce there. He ended up on Lindo Mafeka. Just made sure to point out he never had the explosion that Lindo Mafeka does. Very, very much a dangerous, game-changing type of player with his change of pace.
Yeah, it's good to have those type of conversations, and you know, coach is usually very good, you know, in sharing information, but sharing those specific details that, you know, obviously I want to be like Mafeka as well.
And here is Mafeka using that speed to break out ahead. Tambakis read it well and just sends it packing.
Straight timing that time from Tambakis coming out of the line. It's not an easy job, especially when you're playing away from home. You don't know exactly how the ball is going to bounce right in front of you, but just decisive and go for it. And that time it was a good decision.
Oakland, the beneficiaries in a way of not having had to play last week because Napo Masoso would have been in some doubt. Picked up a hamstring twinge in the late stages of the match against RGV. But with the extra week off, able to get right back into the starting 11 tonight. And we asked Noah Delgado how they handled the impromptu bye week. Said it wasn't all that different than a normal week. We just ended up not playing on Saturday. Still gave the players the normal Sunday off. And then picked right back up with our normal training schedule on Monday.
Especially with Open Cup coming up, you know, it might not be that bad, you know, to have a little bit of more extra rest. Just because, you know, things can start, you know, turning very quickly for you. You know, when you play league play over the weekend and then you have the Open Cup right away, depending on the results, you know, you move forward and you try to get some track into, okay, where's the consistency for my team? You get good results, it's a lot easier.
Formella turns it out wide for Diaz. Diaz just lets it go. Armando Moreno there defensively. Armando Moreno, the 27-year-old, 9 caps for El Salvador. Ever since Hugo Perez started to come in and dip into more players who have American ties, got Moreno to flip from the U.S. Youth National Team to El Salvador.
Off to a great start in USL Championship here from his first day. You know, very impressive, still very young with a lot to learn. Just a solid player.
Pulled through by Chris Wehan. Club's all-time leading scorer muscled off the ball by Donaciano. And as New Mexico United misses Christian Nava, it's nice to have Chris Wehan as your break glass in case of emergency replacement. Club's all-time leading goal scorer, 29-year-old. Turnover here by New Mexico. Anuar Pelaez hesitated for Mela. Arms outstretched looking skyward. Could have walked it into the goal.
Yeah, great effort, you know, because it's good pressure at that time. He sensed the opportunity to recover the ball quickly, wins that battle, but unfortunately he's not able to control the ball and move it past on the left side where Formella was wide open.
Here is Formella tracking back defensively. They like this right side of the field, New Mexico. Harry Swartz loves to get forward in the attack as the right back. Had 6 goals and 1 assist last year from that position. Gets it into Moreno. Eduardo Rito, a heavy touch as he tried to settle off the thigh. Now Santi Moar. Rolled back to Portillo. It's nice to see Santi Moar back in the black and yellow of New Mexico. A couple of years away from the club with Phoenix on the other side of that rivalry those two clubs have. But one of the original members of New Mexico United from 2019 as it's played through to Moreno. And Blanchette is wise to it.
Good movement from Moreno without the ball. You know, sometimes we keep our eyes on the ball, and maybe that's the right thing to do, but, you know, you have to learn to appreciate how well players move without it. And that's a great example from Moreno that time.
Back to Santi Moar. New Mexico United hoping that he can tap back into that 2021 form. Last year for Phoenix, he only had 2 goals and 4 assists, and it was way down from the year prior. Here's Pelaez again off a takeaway. Torito overran it, keeps it alive, and touched away at the last moment by Kalen Ryden. Still alive for Formella to Pelaez. Comes to Torito. Attack still on for Oakland. Rito out for a throw.
Man, another great effort from Pelaez, but it's just the final touch. That's the one piece that's missing right now in the first 10 minutes. Couple of chances early on for Oakland. The energy is there as always, but if you're able to get that goal, I feel like the confidence will go higher, and that will be great for this Oakland team because, you know, they have been able to put pressure on teams. They have been able to create opportunities. They just need to score a little bit more.
To tie up that loose end before Oakland goes on another attack here. Santi Moar, the year prior, had 16 goals for Phoenix, was all-league first team here in USL. So back home to New Mexico, one of the originals here for this club. If he can dip back into 2021's form, this is one of the most potent attacks in the whole league. As Formella looks long again to Pelaez, foot race there with Tambakis. And for the second time tonight, the Greek goalkeeper is there.
What a ball from Formella. Just a beautiful ball. Right in between the center backs. Just the timing wasn't there with Pelaez.
Pelaez is just one of those players who sort of came out of nowhere. From Colombia. Spent the last 2 years just raking in the goals. Into Formella over the bar. Wasn't much room to get that cross in down near the corner flag. And Formella nearly had his first of the season.
Well, I guess, you know, we can tell Oakland Roots, they're off to a great start because they have been able to create opportunities. Probably this is the 4th chance already in just the first 12 minutes of the match. They need to take a shot on target, probably, and they will take the lead. But a great setup from the right side, a good ball coming in, and Formella, that's the way to do it. You know, a first touch coming in, take the shot, try to surprise Tambakis, which is one of the top goalkeepers in the league as well. So, yeah, I think the build-up is working right now. It's just about getting that final piece of the puzzle and getting the ball in the back of the net.
Talk about Moar and tapping into some of that old form for New Mexico. Oakland hoping the same thing for Noric Formella. Last year had 4 goals and 1 assist. That was after he had 17 goals in 54 games for Sacramento Republic. He actually famously scored the first ever goal in that Northern California derby. The first ever season between Sacramento and Oakland. Just didn't have it last year. He was a regular in the lineup, played 32 of the 34 games. Actually, the only game he missed, or the only 2 games he missed, pardon me, were because he was back in Poland for a wedding. That when he told Juan Guerra at the time, the head coach of Oakland, he was leaving for a wedding, Juan Guerra was like, well, I mean, come on, it's the middle of the season here. And then he said, Coach, it's my wedding. So Juan Guerra let him go, and he went home to get married. At the time, he was still deciding whether or not to play domestically again in Poland or come back to USL for another season.
Yeah.
So he and the missus went ahead and scheduled the wedding for right in the middle of the USL season. Would have been the off-season for the European calendar. And Santi Moar picks up a yellow.
Well, that's not good news for New Mexico, especially this early in the match. You know, these are the yellows. They're in the second half. They can create a lot of trouble for any team because it's way too early. It's only the 14th minute. We'll see what happens here. Oakland tries to clear the ball away.
maybe something said or done after the fact, because the initial challenge, I don't believe that would have risen to the nature of a yellow card. Either way, it goes in the book all the same for Moar. Formella switches to Rito. Rito give and go with Mafeka, won't get there this time. There are very few teams in this league, not even just in this league, around the world, who funnel so much through an outside wingback the way Oakland looks for Rito. Whether it's Donaciano or Masoso picking up the ball in the midfield, their first look isn't necessarily forward. It's out on the right wing to see if you find him.
You're absolutely right. And that's, I think that's one of the things that makes Oakland so much fun to watch.
Diaz to Pelaez. Second time he's tried that outside of the boot curler.
Because, Joe, as you look for Rito, you look for excitement, because that's what he brings. He's unpredictable, aggressive, he likes to run, he's good with the ball. It's just a lot of fun to watch him play. And let me tell you, if I was on the field, I will definitely look for Rito most of the time.
Here they go again. Over the top again to Rito. Here's some of that excitement, perhaps. Rito end line, and he earns a corner for the Roots.
A beautiful ball, a beautiful feed on the right side. But it seems like, you know, there's a period of adjustment for both sides, but especially for Oakland and the attacking part of the field. Look at the way the ball is going to bounce right there. I think, you know, playing conditions are different for both, and both teams are trying to adjust here early on in the game.
Quarter of an hour gone from Cal State University East Bay in Hayward, California, temporary home of the Roots. With Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us this evening. New Mexico playing just its second game of the season. Oakland only its third. From the corner, Pelaez was lurking. Center of the six, headed away by Will Seymour. Donaciano, mishit by Sam Hamilton. Pelaez got a foot to it. A couple of giveaways like that so far, New Mexico, in their own half of the field.
Yeah, and, you know, Oakland, they have to try to take advantage of that. The sharpness is not there for New Mexico tonight.
Here's Rito again down the right side. Rito's ball in. Again, it's Seymour rising to the occasion. Formella. Ahead to Donaciano. If we had a heat map to show you, the left side of the field would be completely red, the right side ice cold blue. It has been one-sided traffic in favor of Oakland through nearly 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. And, you know, at some point, they need to get Memo Diaz involved in the game, because he brings a lot of quality as well on the left side. I know it's hard to do when you're successful on the right side, but you need to find a balance as well.
All the way back to Blanchett. Now Barbier. Blanchett to no one in particular. Don't miss any of the action during this 2023 Roots season. Secure your Roots membership today, starting at less than $20 per game, and receive exclusive benefits. Call 510-488-1144 or visit oaklandrootssc.com for more information. Long toss from Swartz. Skimmed along by Barbier. Murad puts Blanchett in some peril. Bouncing ball that he settles with the pressure closing in. I don't know if Paul Blanchett of 2 years ago makes a play like that. He's come a long way playing with his feet. Here's Moar. Took a weird bounce off the post. That took multiple caroms off multiple divots in this field. And that is what you get on a new field for the first time.
My goodness. Well, that's why this game is so beautiful and unpredictable, because you have to adjust to so many things. Look, when Oakland is completely dominating the game, can you imagine the impact of a goal like that?
I'm not very good at physics. It was, as a matter of fact, one of the subjects I cheated on in school. But I don't know how that ball ended up bouncing the way it did to get to Blanchette and hit off the post. I'm not condoning cheating for any kids watching, but I mean, it looked like Moore gave up on that. He took the shot, body language said, all right, that's out for a goal kick. All of a sudden, it takes a hard right turn at the 6 and goes off the post. From distance here, why not try it again off that turf? And Blanchette is able to trap this one.
That's the right decision, right? You know, you saw it already firsthand. Why not try it again and see what happens?
Diaz gets Moreno to lunge in. Donaciano finds Formella. Diaz taken down. Portillo is the guilty party.
Yeah, this could be borderline yellow card here. Here's another look. It's a good ball from Formella and a great move, by the way. Great turn that time. And honestly, the turn brings up the opportunity of the foul because Portillo is late to the ball, and that's why he needs to commit the foul.
Eligio Araguin, the referee, opts for a stern warning for Portillo. Masoso. Ball was over the line for a New Mexico throw. Elsewhere so far, 2 other matches going on right now in the Western Conference. Monterey Bay down 1-0 at home against San Antonio. Sacramento up 1-0 at home against Louisville. All matches started just about simultaneously. All of those also in the 22nd minute. One more match to kick off tonight. It's Phoenix hosting San Diego. Rivalry that has become the last couple of years. Should be some fireworks there. And Phoenix expecting 10,000 for their home opener. Should be a great environment. Portillo slots it through to Hurst. Weehan strike is saved by Blanchette. Holds on to it too.
Yeah, a lot of quality on both sides right there. A beautiful shot from Weehan, but a great positioning as well from Blanchette. You know, it's not an easy shot to save just because, you know, as Weehan takes the shot, you don't know how the ball is going to turn right in front of you. You might try to anticipate a little bit, and then you're in trouble. So a good decision that time. Another yellow card.
And for the second time, it is not for a foul. And those are the ones that'll drive Zach Prince, the head coach of New Mexico, mad.
Yeah, especially from your captain. And let me tell you, to be honest, I think Portillo should be on a yellow card, and he's not on a yellow card. See, that's the perfect angle to illustrate what I was just trying to say. You know, at that point, you don't know necessarily where the ball is going to go and how quickly it's going to bend in, and that's what makes it, you know, a good save from Blanchette.
Well, for right now, Zach Prince is directing his ire toward the 4th official. But as this game goes along, to the point you made earlier, Jose, that ire might be directed toward Moar and Hamilton for putting themselves in that position to pick up silly yellows.
See, we've seen soccer for so long now that we know those early yellows, unnecessary early yellows, they usually in the second half, they come back to you and you start thinking, well, remember the first yellow card, how you got it, and now you commit a foul that you needed to, and then you're out of the game.
Especially for a patrolling defensive midfielder like Sam Hamilton. How many times do you see a 6 in his position need to take a tactical foul to stop an attack? Now he's going to have to pull up.
You're absolutely right.
I like when you say that. All the way back to Tambakis. He just racks up awards, whichever team he ends up on. New Mexico's Defensive Player of the Year in 2022, their Newcomer of the Year in 2021. Terrific goalkeeper Tambakis is. All USL second team with North Carolina back in 2019, was also the team MVP that year. Offside flag comes up here on Oakland.
I really like the effort play tonight from Formella. I think, you know, he's working a lot defensively, but still finding a way to have an impact offensively. And, you know, that's challenging because, you know, he's not the fastest player on the field, but he needs to take advantage of the good touch that usually comes along.
Free kick coming now for the visiting side. You see the jackets on some of the coaches, mid-50s here in the Bay Area.
That's freezing for me.
Oh, we got to get you out of Miami, Jose, a little bit more often. Portillo stands over it. 8 goals to go with his 5 assists last season. His first year with New Mexico, had spent the previous 4 seasons in the Real Salt Lake organization, whether that be with Real Monarchs in USL or his 11 appearances with the first team in MLS. From the free kick, the header skyward there for Blanchette to pluck out of the air. Rolled out to Emra Clementa. Back for Tariq Murad. Dribbling a little bit too much near his goal like that. Finally gets it out to Barbier. And Barbier gives it away. Portillo. Brought in by Moore. Play on, says Areguin. Striding ahead, Clementa finds Rito. And the assistant referee, I believe, gets Mafeka for the foul call.
Oakland is running into trouble when they try to work from the build-up all the way from the back because they're not moving the ball quick enough. If they hold on to the ball inside the box, that allows New Mexico to push numbers forward, and then they don't win the second ball, they are in trouble. So if they want to work out of the build-up, they just have to do it a little bit faster and through the wings.
Tambakis launches it. Moreno brings it in. Greg Hurst, another newcomer this year for New Mexico, pushes ahead to Moar. Can he get there? Yes. Santi Moar, blocked by Clementa. Rito pushes it ahead into space. Here he goes. Eduardo Rito has some help from Pelaez and Formella. One touch too many. Denaciano cleans it up and finds Mafeka. Mafeka, Pelaez, another corner coming for Oakland.
Isn't he fun to watch?
There's a buzz from the crowd whenever the ball makes its way over to him.
Every time. Every time. Something exciting happens when Rito gets a touch. I get excited now every time I see him with the ball.
And so do all of those folks.
Although, to be fair, that time, I think he held on to the ball a little bit too long. But still.
Diaz falls for Denaciano. Settling touch. Here's a hit. Headed away by Kalen Ryden. Moreno looking to break out. Shout of handball from Oakland. Play on, said the officials. Moreno has to slow it down. Ridden to the ground by Masoso, also clean. That one not so clean.
Yeah, Pelaez is just, I think he's a little bit frustrated just because, he had opportunities early on. He was not able to capitalize. And then, quite a few passes, especially in the last 5 to 10 minutes, are not going his way. I think he's not necessarily making a good run into space. And that's not allowing the midfielders to make a decision early as to where they want to put the ball.
Zach Prince is going to join Sam Hamilton and Santi Moore in the book.
Well, the referee's not taking a word.
Eligio Araguin has set the tone early in this one. Do not delay the restart. Do not talk back. When the play is done, move on, and that's it. And whether you agree with it or not, that is the precedent and the tone he has set tonight.
Right.
And if you're any of the 22 players on the field, especially the couple who already have yellow cards, you have to heed that warning.
Oh, yeah.
It's clear now how this match is being officiated after the whistles. And you have to make sure you don't put your team in any hot water because you lose your cool.
And let me tell you, especially in this league, playing a man down, it's a lot of trouble. It's a lot of trouble because everybody runs. USL Championship, if there's one thing that you're not going to be missing, is running.
Here's Moreno running ahead. Clementa cuts him off. Here's Santi Moore. Drives it himself again, bouncing it off the turf, hoping for a bounce, not as favorable that time. Half an hour into this, still scoreless between Oakland and New Mexico. And believe it or not, with all the opportunities Oakland has had here at Pioneer Stadium, yet to find a shot on target. Two on the other side for New Mexico.
And I think that's the one thing missing. That's the one thing missing because they have been able to create opportunities out of the build-up. Good pressure as well. High pressure, and Pelaez recovering a couple of balls there, missing a pass. That's the one thing that's missing for Oakland. But as of right now, I think good half hour of play. For New Mexico as well, right? Because they're on the road, they remain scoreless. You know, they're going to struggle at some point. So far, so good here.
Tell you where it's not scoreless. Sacramento, 30 minutes in. Maybe some trouble brewing in Louisville, by the way. They lost 3-0 against El Paso over the past weekend. They're down 3-0 inside of a half an hour on the road against Sac Republic.
Oh, my goodness. That's completely unexpected. And Louisville, you know, up to the last game, they were having a good start.
Absolutely. Here's Moreno. Luis Felipe, Jack Gurr, Russell Cicerone, the 3 goals for Sacramento. Phoenix and San Diego has just kicked off, and it's still 1-0 San Antonio on the road against Monterey Bay. Sacramento, one of the brightest teams so far. On the live table, they have 10 points of a possible 12. Right there with the defending champion San Antonio, also taking 10 of a possible 12 points. Sacramento was a contender till the end last year, both in USL Championship and in US Open Cup play. Lost in the final against Orlando City. And that all ties into the greater conversation here in the Western Conference that outside of Sacramento and San Antonio, it's anybody's guess as far as everybody else. So much parity, and we talked to Noah Delgado about that this week. The parity in this league in previous years with some of the MLS 2 sides who have since left for MLS Next Pro. You had a couple games on the schedule where you could look at it and say, you know what? If we go 100%, that night is a guaranteed 3 points. If we take it at 80% and make some rotation, still probably 3 points. You don't have those games anymore on the schedule. And you have to pick up points when you can.
And I think we saw some of that late in the playoff push, right? You know, late in 2022, a couple of spots available and, you know, 6 or 7 teams fighting for it.
Here's Rito, puts it inside. Was sending Austin Yearwood every which way, turning to defend him. Speaking of Open Cup, New Mexico will host lower division side UDA Soccer on Tuesday. Oakland also at home on Tuesday against El Farolito. Blanchette has it.
And by the way, Open Cup games are so much fun.
Oh, like, you can't beat it.
If you want to watch for the first time, please make sure you make it this week. Because, I mean, if you watch from the start, you'll enjoy the tournament even more. The stories that come within every game, you know, whether it's right now, it's the time for USL Championship teams to be favorites, and you know that might change in 2 weeks or 3. It's just a great tournament.
And I think a lot of fans last year maybe were introduced to it more than they had in previous years. And why do I say that? Let's not forget, we didn't have it in 2020. We didn't have it in 2021.
Yeah.
And USL Championship, so many of these fan communities are so tight-knit, love their teams with such a passion. It's great to see. But to not have that tournament for a couple of years, in those 2 years, this league has made so many strides, bringing in so much talent and also sending out some talent with some of these young players who've been sold abroad for so much money, where that gap isn't so big anymore. And last year, we saw that with Sacramento making it all the way to the final. So if you became a new fan of Open Cup because of last year, well, it's back again this week for USL Championship teams, and you won't want to miss it. The action taking place throughout the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Dark Formella looking for Rito, headed back the other way instead for Pelaez, still breaks Oakland's way. And Pelaez again overeager. A couple of times that's happened tonight. Where once the ball was gone, he committed the foul.
Yeah, I think that with Pelaez early on, it's the case of just trying to do too much with over one play.
And it looks like Araguin, and here we go, counting it up. There's his final warning. I was just about to mention, you're getting on the brink of persistent infringement now with Pelaez. There's his last warning. And, you know, on a night where we haven't seen much leniency from Araguin in terms of some of the other yellows he's given up, he shows some to Pelaez. They're usually referees on that third foul, you're getting the card. Here he's giving him a fourth.
He's giving him one more chance.
10 to go here in this first half. Back to Sam Hamilton. 60% of the possession going Oakland's way. And just from what we know New Mexico to be from last year, and having a chance to chat with Zach Prince, they're not a team who concerns themselves too much with possession. Of the school of thought, it's more what you do with the ball, not how much you have it.
Right.
On a night like this, content to let Oakland possess.
And especially,
Given away by Blanchette, just wide of Moreno. That could have been dangerous. And that's Hamilton on the foul. And again, you said earlier, Jose, when you have that yellow from an earlier argument, you see Araguin pointing to his temple saying to be smart.
Be smart.
That's exactly why you can't do it.
Yes, absolutely. Here's another look. And you be the judge, because, I mean, again, that's borderline right there. He's really giving him a chance. And it's very early. It's very early, Joe. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, it's Hamilton, it's the captain. It's a very important player in the middle. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's off the field for the second half.
Have to be extremely careful now. And if you're head coach, you have to think about subbing him off at halftime.
Right, absolutely. Just because, you know, the referee has already shown the way, you know, he's managing the game.
Yes, he's your captain. Yes, he's integral to what you do in the midfield, but you can't afford to go down to 10. Memo Diaz just barely tiptoes the line, stays on side, floats it toward Pelaez, headed away by Ryden. Masoso for Diaz, directing traffic before he even got the ball. And just pushes it back to Barbier. And Barbier hits a switch with backspin. That first touch from Rito. Donaciano to Rito at the end line. Rito tried to turn the corner, and he earns a corner. Oakland Roots and Anthem Blue Cross 2023 jerseys are here, and they look hella fresh. Purchase your 2023 primary jersey before the next match by visiting shop.oaklandrootssc.com.
Late in the first half here, another corner kick. I don't think we have seen enough so far from Oakland when it comes to set pieces. Maybe this is an opportunity to get on the right track. We know there's a strategy there, but I don't think it's working as of right now. Usually two players go for it. You know, given several options when it comes to how do you want to bring the ball in.
Fourth corner of the match. Oh, Diaz sends it in. Donaciano looking for it and just plays it back. Rito will have to go further back. Rito somehow ended up on the left side here. Now, he and Memo Diaz are both players who prefer the right wing. Rito wins out in that argument.
Yeah, I think for Memo, you know, I wouldn't say it's a struggle, but I think it's going to take him some time to find his way on the left side. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive, you know, to find that trust within his own game on how he can contribute to this team on that side of the field. You know, it's not easy at all. It's not easy because, you know, he's not that type of player. He likes to have a touch. He likes to keep possession. And sometimes when you're playing on the wing, you know, you just have to run a little bit more.
Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.selectsportamerica.com for the latest product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Flicked on to Mafeka. Last touch too heavy. Hamilton plays out of harm's way to Will Seymour. Taken away by Masoso. Now Diaz. Looking for Pelaez. That center back pairing is immense for New Mexico with Kalen Ryden and Will Seymour, two veterans, 31 years of age. Kalen Ryden over the last 2 years made 56 starts for United, has 220 clearances, 70 interceptions, and 42 blocks. Those are the numbers you want to see out of a center back who's just always getting in the way and making life difficult. Will Seymour not too far behind. Just joined last year, his first year with the club, and in that first year had 90 clearances and 56 interceptions. Metrics, again, you like to see for your center backs. Yeah. New Mexico has 2 of them, both experienced, both 31 next to each other. Good luck getting through, and if you do, oh, by the way, Alex Tambakis. Rito. New Mexico still yet to concede this year. Granted, it's only their second game, but they're nearly through their third half. Clean Rito, a clean nutmeg there. Nobody crashing at the near post to get on the end of that.
I'm so happy Rito's not disappointing. I'm so happy because you know what happens, you know?
You hype him up.
Yeah.
As a tough game. And then, Jose, you look like the one with egg on your face. But
right.
Not tonight.
Not
Rito
tonight.
is living up to it, and here he is again. Looking for Pelaez, the flick header just wide.
All right, listen, that's the name of the game right now for Oakland. Rito on the right side, and you need to find a way to connect exactly there with Pelaez, because when he gets off the box, away from the box, then he struggles a little bit. But once he's inside the box, then right there is where you're going to see the full potential of Pelaez.
Again, sort of came out of nowhere. Played with Hermanos Colmenares the last 2 years, had 21 goals in 63 games. Granted, it's a new-ish club, only 7 years old, but those 21 goals in 2 years, that's a club record. Talking to Oakland staff before the season started, Director of Player Personnel Nana Atakora said his pace, physical attributes are going to cause a lot of issues for USL defenders. Hasn't honed that into a goal yet, but you're seeing the challenges he presents.
By the way, I remember Nana Atakora as a player.
Oh, yes.
Woo! Man, he was a lot of fun to watch. Center back, strong. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a great job here, because you know he knows exactly what you need to do on a soccer field to be successful.
It's part of the reason this team has been able to make the playoffs the last couple of years. Part of the architect of the whole thing. Instrumental in bringing Jojo Nane into the fold. They were teammates way back in the day at Toronto. And Jojo Nane has been a veteran presence in the midfield for Oakland. He's also part-time coach of their USL 2 team, Project 510. Right now the concern is Donaciano for a head injury. Like a clash of the heads there as Hamilton came in. Just a brief little headbutt. Unintentional for Donaciano. New Mexico in that first match, yes, they won it 1-0. It was an 85th minute penalty to seal the deal. Thumbs up from the trainer to the fourth official. But they will make Donaciano make the trek over to midfield to properly re-enter the match as we await word on stoppage time. Unofficially told it'll be 2 minutes, but that fourth official is lighting up the board now to confirm that. See, that's why it's unofficial. They made it 3. They added a minute for Donaciano being on the field right there, nearing 45.
See, you needed to wait 3 seconds, Joe.
Moreno. See, it's all in the verbiage. That's why the people who get that information to us say unofficial, because things change. No absolutes, well, very few absolutes, I should say, in this life. Stoppage time is certainly not one of those absolutes.
3 minutes sounds about right.
Yeah. I'd agree. Flicked on by Weehan. Three minutes would have been a millisecond at the World Cup in November and December.
Ooh, yep.
Seen 10, 12, 7, 8 minutes. Over the top from Swartz. Blanchett tracking it the whole way. And throwing it out wide to Rito. Eduardo Rito. Not often you say this about him, but he slows it down and looks back. That's a guy who just puts his head down and goes. Weehan. Out wide for Moore. Looking back for Weehan. Club's all-time leading scorer with 35 goals. Original member in 2019, 2020. In 2021, he left for Orange County, but halfway through the year was traded back to New Mexico. Masoso. Mafeka. Clementa. Rito pushes it past, gets it on the other side. What hasn't he done in this first half? All he needs is a goal or an assist. He's done pretty much everything else.
Yeah, and you know, I think at this point, you know, you need to find a way, if you're Oakland, to help him out a little bit more, to free some more space, because he's clearly dominating the wing. But he needs to find an outlet a lot quicker than that. He's able to move past the defender, sometimes even two. So you need to be there for him, so that, you know, it's not about, you know, Rito moving past defenders, but also about Oakland creating opportunities.
Closing seconds here this first half. Oakland in a tight spot down in their own corner. And for Mella, able to control it and help play out of it. Masoso or Clementa. Still Clementa. Into some uncharted territory here. Don't see him get forward this often or that far forward, unless it's a corner kick. For Mella. Back through, Mafeka. Into the arms of Tambakis, and that should take us to halftime. And there's the whistle. Scoreless through 45. But a very exciting first half between New Mexico and Oakland.
Yeah, I think it's been a good half for both teams. I think for Oakland, it's about creating opportunities. The one thing that's missing is that shot and goal. And for New Mexico, you know, a solid defensive performance when you're on the road. That's how you want to start the game. They have been able to do that.
These teams have played 3 terrific games so far in their brief history in this all-time series. 2 draws and a New Mexico win. But on all 3 occasions, drama in the second half, especially late on. One time in New Mexico, a stoppage time tying goal for Oakland So all that is to basically say, don't go anywhere. We saw an exciting first half, and historically these teams have a lot of drama in the second half. More to come as the Anthem halftime show begins just after this with Oakland and New Mexico scoreless.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
If Damian Lillard accepted his spot at the end of the bench, he never would have been at the rec center before it opened. If he listened to those who overlooked him, he never would have heard his name called as a first-round pick. And if he let 6 all-star selections go to his head, he never would have had the heart to give back to the streets that shaped him. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
The mission of Fertile Groundworks is of teach, grow, give. Teach people how to grow food for themselves, grow it, and then give it away to people who need it. We grow about 25,000 pounds of food a year. We also operate something we call the Sustainable School Garden Program. Teachers ask us for help setting up a garden on their own campuses. East Bay Community Energy was nice enough to give us $2,500 that we were able to focus on one of our school gardens, and I am truly grateful.
Halftime is brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Right now, this Oakland Roots community hoping to see a goal on the good guys' side. The good guys in their eyes. The Roots still scoreless against New Mexico United. So take a look at the upcoming schedule for both teams, beginning with Oakland. And we touched on this a little bit in the first half, Jose. There are no easy outs. There are no layups anymore. Even Loudoun coming up on the schedule, a road trip out east. They're a team that when they came to Oakland last year, you looked at that and said, here's 3 points. And Oakland won it 4-1. Not anymore. All these games difficult in their own way.
Well, yeah, it's obviously difficult, and especially when you go on the road, which is the case for 3 of the next 5 for Oakland. Indy, a little bit unpredictable early on. Loudoun different than last year, and Birmingham leading the way in the East. So, those are difficult matches. But, you take the opportunity of going on the road and try to grow as a team as well.
And you get those 2 at home against Hartford and Miami, who on paper Oakland is probably better than.
Yeah.
But unpredictable. Hartford on a given day,
yeah.
Miami on a given day, and that's just to say there are no easy outs anymore in this league. And the same goes on the other side here for New Mexico, especially when you go on the road against Monterey Bay next week.
Yeah, and again, 3 of them on the road out of the next 5. I think this is a lot harder. I mean, Monterey, it's no easy task with Frank Gallup. And then San Diego, Colorado Springs, Orange County, they're trying to turn things around from last year. And RGV, always difficult.
They're going to be difficult, but let's just say this. New Mexico happy to be playing after opening the season on March 18th, which was a week after the whole league opened the season, and then not having any games in the following week, that being the weekend of the 25th and 26th. Before this one today, very choppy start. Can't get into a rhythm. Finally, it's rhythmic every weekend, 7 days apart for the next 5 weeks. So it's good to see for New Mexico. Scoreless through 45 against the Oakland Roots. Very exciting first half. Definitely one of the more exciting scoreless first halves you'll see with action end-to-end. More to come from Cal State University East Bay.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Welcome back into the Anthem Halftime Show, brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross, transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Take a look now around USL Championship with some news and notes. We touched on it a bit in the first half, but all USL clubs enter the second round of the Open Cup beginning this Tuesday. Both Oakland and New Mexico are in action against lower division sides at home this Tuesday. Jordan Farr, your player of the week, continues to tear it up. Last year's goalkeeper of the year here in USL Championship. And then the schedule on ESPN2 kicks off May 13th with Louisville and Miami. And beyond that, we start to get hot and heavy in July. 3 of those in July: Phoenix, Memphis, Monterey Bay, Oakland, Detroit, Louisville. Just carries on, and it's Louisville taking center stage to begin against Miami. And right now, as we take a look at the out-of-town scores, brought to you by Visit Oakland, it's Louisville taking center stage for a bad reason against Sacramento. Well, take a look. It's 3 goals in the first half an hour for Sacramento. Just a stunner there.
Yeah, very surprising result that time. And, you know, obviously, you know, you expect a lot from Sacramento after the Open Cup run, but same goes for Louisville, which, you know, I'm surprised because they were off to a great start in the season. San Antonio leading the way in Monterey. You know, it's not that surprising because they're the defending champions and leading the way in the West, but still a very good result going on the road.
And one to also mention, didn't have room to fit it all in here because there's so much action going on across the league today, but that is Phoenix and San Diego, currently scoreless through 27 minutes. A big one in the Western Conference. Big one right here in the Western Conference between Oakland and New Mexico. 4th ever time these clubs are meeting. And you've got 2 draws with 1 win for New Mexico all time. 45 minutes to be played from the temporary home of the Roots here at Cal State University East Bay in Hayward, California. Fans were treated to a lot of excitement in that first half, but no goals. Will that change in half number 2? Stick around to find out.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't mini adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Wouldn't it be great to have delicious, healthy meals delivered right to your door? No planning, shopping, or prepping. And what if your delivery was full of plant-based, fresh ingredients that truly nourish and fuel your body? Try Thistle. Our in-house chefs create a new menu each week for you to choose from before it arrives ready to eat. No prep needed. And for a limited time, you can save $100 off your first 4 weeks. So go ahead and autopilot your diet. Get started today at jointhistle.com.
My name is Ed, and I live in San Leandro, California. I've always been concerned about being prepared. And being on a medical baseline where I have a CPAP machine, I was wondering, will I be able to keep that thing going? I got an email from East Bay Community Energy, and they mentioned a rebate about getting an electrical generator. So I went for it. East Bay Community Energy has been great. They're doing a job to help our environment, and I think they're really supportive.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross, UCSF, and Modelo. Take a look at highlights from half number 1, brought to you by UCSF Health. Plenty of highlights to show for the scoreless scoreline.
Yeah, a couple chances early on for Oakland. Here's the first one, a good cross from the right side. It was Rito who brings the ball inside the box. A good finish, it looked like initially from Formela, but the shot goes just over the bar. Just 7 minutes later, the ball bouncing in front of Rito. Shot from Santimor. I still don't know how to explain to you what happened here. I know that Santimor takes a shot, and after that, I'll leave it up to Joe because he's the major here in physics.
I've seen shots on the golf course spin less awkwardly than that shot did from Moar. And this one spun almost beyond Blanchett, but he grabs out the shot from Wehan.
Yeah, it's just the position in that time was so good by Blanchett. Late in the first half, opportunity again on the right side. Rito brings the ball in. The header from Pelaez. I really like that one, and I think that's the way to go for Oakland. If they're able to find Pelaez inside the box, just to allow him to finish the play, then I think they're up to something good.
And despite all of that we showed you, 0 shots on target for the Roots, despite all the chances.
But it's not, it's not a 0 shots on target that is concerning to me, because they have been able to create opportunities. And I think the 61% is very important, especially when you're playing against New Mexico. You need to have the ball, even though they're comfortable without it. I think Oakland is doing everything right except for that final shot and goal. That's what they're missing.
You could almost argue that you're more concerned at New Mexico only having 2 shots on target, because their 2 shots were that funky one that hit off the post, and then Blanchett had to stop before it crossed the line, and the one from Wehan, which Blanchett made a fine save, but it was far out. They haven't had any looks from inside the 18. Yeah,
and if you look back into the first half, out of the build-up, I think New Mexico, they just haven't been able to create as much. And it's Oakland doing everything right, and they're just lacking that connection. And maybe it's something that will come with time. It might not happen tonight, but it will happen as we move on into the season, because, they're new pieces. Yes, there's, a core group of players from last year, but the new players that are coming in, they need to continue to work and fit in and have an understanding of what their teammates like to do on the field.
It'll be Oakland in the black from left to right, New Mexico in the yellow from right to left. And might I just say, while we have some time here, this is a terrific, aesthetically pleasing color matchup with the black and yellow the way it pops.
That's true, yeah.
I don't know if I've had this conversation with you in the past, but I am all for both teams wearing their primary color if they don't clash instead of wearing white. I'm big anti-wearing the color white if you could avoid it. So a night like this where you've got black on yellow with goalkeeper in orange, opposing goalkeeper in green, referee in blue, just got all the colors, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it really helps. It really helps. Honestly, sitting from right here, I mean, it really helps. It makes the job a lot easier. One thing I'm against red kids with black numbers.
Okay, not a big Phoenix Rising fan, I guess.
Not necessarily. I just can't see from here. I don't know who's moving the ball, who's taking shots.
Well, we're underway now in half number 2 with Jose Rodriguez. I'm Joe Malfa. We are fashion police for the night apparently as well at Pioneer Stadium in Hayward, California. Portillo opens it up. See if New Mexico comes out in the second half more on the front foot. They didn't have a lot of time on the ball, especially in the attacking half in that first 45. Moreno taken away by Donaciano, ranging ahead. Inaciano has Pelaez making the run, feeds it to him, and the flag comes up. Just barely mistimed it.
Well, you know, I think this is not necessarily on Pelaez because he's making the move in time, and Inaciano just didn't see exactly a way to put the ball through in a sense that Pelaez will be in position to score. He was moving away from goal, and he was caught in the middle of two. Okay, whether I give him the ball or I just use him as a decoy and then move straight on goal.
Knocked down to Wehan, and a foul called against New Mexico.
So Hamilton and Moore still on the field, both of them with early yellows.
And Zach Prince, don't forget,
Zach Prince
could lose their head coach.
Yes, so, you know, something to think about. Obviously, that was a conversation during halftime.
Here's Memo Diaz, heavy touch, cleared away by Will Seymour.
It didn't work that time, but the give and go with Memo on the left side, I think that's something that we need to see a little bit more often for Oakland to find that balance. So it's a good idea. It's good to be aggressive. It's not going to work every single time, but just try to do it and see what happens.
Give and go in tight quarters near the corner flag. And a corner coming for Oakland. They had ample opportunity from the corner in the first half, 4 in total.
This is where you have to look for players like Formella, Pelaez as well, Clementa moving forward. Early goal here in the second half can do a lot for Oakland. You know, those are the moments where, you know, yes, it's early, but you need to have that concentration and understanding what's in play here.
Mafeka, Diaz conspiring over it. Getting a great photo in the background. Taken by Mafeka. Picture perfect corner. Falls right for Tariq Murad, but his header blocked. Dambakis tosses it out to Yearwood. Haven't really had to call Yearwood's name a lot. Or we called the name Yorick Formella a lot. This side of the field sort of going unnoticed.
Well, no, I think for Yearwood, its problem is Rito. He just hasn't been able to stop him, and that's why we haven't called his name.
I meant in the context of Formella and Yearwood, and that's exactly why. Rito's the answer. Seymour pushes into the space. Looking ahead, threads it through for Greg Hurst, almost. Last moment, Barbier won it. Greg Hurst has been very quiet tonight as well. They haven't found the service for their big number 9 from Scotland. Came over from Phoenix Rising in the offseason with Santi Moar. Here is Moar to Wehan.
But, you know, for Hurst, you're not concerned because you have played in games in which you get one touch, you score, and then you're the man of the match. So he needs to know to be patient and to wait for his opportunity.
He was all USL League One in 2020 and 2021. First with the Chattanooga Red Wolves, then with Union Omaha. Last year was his first season in championship with Phoenix. Acquitted himself well. Had 6 goals and 5 assists, so 11 goal contributions in his 23 starts.
Feka and Formella switching sides from the first half.
Which interestingly puts now Formella on the same side as Rito.
Yep.
Different combination than having Mafeka on that side.
Yeah, because they were not able to connect as much. So I'm sure Noah Delgado is thinking about, you know, maybe switching things a little bit and see if that helps Memo as well.
Here is Diaz, now Denaciano. Read again well by Will Seymour. Masoso taken down. That's a yellow for Portillo. So now both of those players there in the heart of the midfield for New Mexico, Hamilton and Portillo on yellows. And Hamilton maybe on a final warning as well because he committed a borderline yellow card worthy foul near the end of that first half.
Look at that combination right there. It's just beautiful to watch, right? And yeah, no complaining from Portillo. He knows exactly that's a yellow card. But if we see more of that in the middle, man, this Oakland team is really, really fun to watch. Think about having the pace, the strength through the wings, and then getting those combinations in the middle of the field. I mean, if you're Peláez, you have to sit inside the box and just wait for the ball to come to you.
That's the real question for Oakland this year. They know they're strong on the wings. They know they're strong in the midfield. Just where will the goals come from with Ottar Karlsson leaving from his loan from Venezia? He accounted for nearly 20 of them last year. Johnny Rodriguez and Memo Diaz each have a goal in the season for Oakland. Diaz scored in that 3-1 loss to San Antonio. And in that 1-1 draw against RGV, Rodriguez got his tally. Only Portillo has a goal so far for New Mexico. Granted, they've only played one match. Zach Prince and New Mexico's bench rightfully arguing for a yellow, and it's a debate they win. Masoso kicked the ball away after the fact, and we talked about in the first half the precedent set by Adegin. Don't delay a restart, don't talk back after a whistle. It's going to be a yellow.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's a good job from New Mexico to start arguing immediately, put pressure on the referee, and that's exactly the reaction, you know, that takes you through a yellow card.
Heck of a touch from Zach Prince as well.
And again, a similar scenario for Masoso now. In the second half, you know, it's a similar yellow, the one we saw from Santi Moore and Hamilton. Now he needs to be careful.
Portillo serves it up, drops it into a very dangerous spot, but it bounces into the hands of Blanchett, and he's taken down. I think the feet just got tangled there.
Man, what a ball from Portillo. Beautiful ball. Outstanding.
That's what he brings to the table. That service, impeccable.
That's where you feel bad as a teammate, when you see such a good ball coming in and nobody's able to get to it.
Guillen for Moreno. Picks out Moar's run centrally. Moar stops on a dime, has a go, takes a weird bounce again. You can see the different coloration there. There's a specific patch of turf laid out in front of the keepers. Why? I don't know. I didn't build this field, but it's got to be difficult for a keeper to deal with that. It's almost, to make the analogy to baseball, the only thing I can think of where the infield grass meets the dirt and you just get these awkward hops. Goalkeepers have to be wary, and people like Moore will just keep shooting.
Yeah, it's not been an easy game for both goalkeepers, honestly, because, you know, you're basically in that same spot for the full 90 minutes. It's not like, okay, you're a left back or a right back. You run up and down the field and it's all the same. Center backs and the goalkeeper, they have to work around that area.
Harry Swartz gets it into play. Peláez looking back. Donaciano strides through. And just sent long by Swartz. Roots fans, the next home game in the regular season is April 15th at 7 p.m. Secure your tickets by calling 510-488-1144 or visiting oaklandrootssc.com. Moore. Back for Ryden. This New Mexico team last year, maybe around August, September is when they went on their run, and they were a very popular pick to make a deep postseason run, having all the tools defensively, offensively to put it together. They just never did down the stretch. It's about peaking at the right time, of course, and they didn't do that. But you just look up and down the roster and the talent they have, the experience they have. You can see why this is a team a lot of people have pegged to finish very highly in this loaded Western Conference.
Yeah, I just think, you know, this looks like trouble. Well, they're able to clear the ball away, but I think you need to find that consistency, right? It's not an easy competition, you know, and when you cannot find that consistency for so long in the season, and then you do it for a 10-game stretch, let's say, that's not going to be enough. That's just not going to be enough, and I think we saw it last year with San Antonio. They were good from the start, and they were able to show that in the playoffs. And yes, it's a dramatic way to finish the season, and we have seen it for so many times in USL Championship, where you lead the way during the regular season, and in the first game of the playoffs, you have a bad night and you're out. But when you have that consistency, that backbone, then, you know, it's a completely different scenario.
Here's Greg Hurst barreling ahead, chips it through to Weehan, just too much on it. But it's those new additions, Hurst, Moore, that you need to factor in on the offensive end, especially losing Christian Nava. Again, we touched on it at the top of the broadcast. The young, bright 19-year-old tore his ACL in Monday's training session, out for the season. All the best to him in his recovery. You hate to see anybody come away with an injury like that, but especially a player that was on the precipice of breaking out in this league at 19 years of age. So how do they replace that? He started their first match. They were going to count on him playing a big role.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's unfortunate because, you know, that obviously, and they have Weehan, which, you know, it's a good replacement. I wouldn't even consider him a replacement because,
right.
You know, he's a top player for them.
Your replacement is the club's all-time leading scorer.
Right, so it's not really a replacement, but, you know, there's upside to a player like Nava, and that's what gets you. You know, the what could have been 2022 from the reality of what is 2023.
23, there we go.
23, yes, 23.
It is April 1st. You got to be, I hope you're right in the correct year on checks and official documents by now. Come on, Jose. Portillo to Hamilton. Hamilton captaining this side again this year. Portillo. First time we've called Rito's name in a while for a defensive reason. He gets his head on that, but nobody there. Not ahead.
You know, this might be the time for Noah Delgado to start thinking about, okay, what can we do different here? Because it seems like New Mexico is getting just a little bit more possession, pushing numbers forward. Oakland is stepping back a little bit. And the game is changing right now. We'll see if Oakland allows this to continue.
Similarly, on the other side for New Mexico, Sergio Ribas, Josh Dolling could be options. Oakland is preparing that first sub of the match. Johnny Rodriguez is ready. Have to imagine that is for Anwar Pelaez. Those two have been interchangeable through the first 2 weeks for Oakland. Beyond the hour mark now at Cal State University East Bay Pioneer Stadium in Hayward, California with Jose Rodriguez. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have had you along all evening long. 30 minutes to play plus stoppage time here. Will either of these teams do enough to take 3 points, or they split a point each? Oakland starting the season 0-1-1. Had last week's match against Memphis postponed, gave them an impromptu bye week New Mexico in just their second game of the year. Here's Denaciano playing to Rito. He gets there and keeps it alive. Rito, Denaciano, Rito looking for it, and he commits the foul.
Well, I think Denaciano missed the right pass at the time to the left side where Memo Diaz was wide open. It's never bad news to give the ball to Rito, but specifically this time, I think the opportunity was through the left. It's Johnny Rodriguez, my cousin. If it scores, though, if it scores.
Oh my goodness. That substitution powered by East Bay Community Energy, providing green power at low rates. Visit ebce.org to find out more. Make sure if he scores, you congratulate him at the next family reunion then.
Yes, if he scores. Good effort from Pelaez. You know, he's an effort guy. But I think it's going to be important for him to get opportunities inside the box. That's where he needs to be for most of the time. But he likes to run. He likes to get touches, and you know, I still he needs, you know, maybe 2 or 3 more games to really, you know, get accustomed to what Noah Delgado wants from him.
Given away by Oakland in their defensive third. Here's Moar. Moar back for Portillo. He let it run by, thinking he had a teammate next to him. Moreno pushes to Weehan on the volley. Couldn't generate enough power. Back to Rodriguez and Pelaez for a moment. Talking to Noah Delgado, being that it's clear that they have 2 interchangeable parts there. While they're interchangeable, they're different. Rodriguez likes to run off the shoulder into space, ball played to feet a little bit more, whereas Pelaez is a big aerial threat. And Rodriguez out wide. Here's Formella around the keeper, centering it. Rodriguez scores! Second of the season. The Roots have the lead. I guess you could talk to him at the reunion then after all.
A beautiful ball onto the left side. And talk about composure. The way that Formella is able to control the ball inside the box. He could have very easily taken the shot right there. Here's the ball on the left side, and that's where the goal is generated, honestly. And then Formella is able to keep the ball in play. He knows somebody's going to make the run, and that person is Johnny Rodriguez. It's an easy finish for him. To the back of the net it goes. Have an impact, Johnny Rodriguez. My cousin, there it is. It's 1-0 for Oakland.
That is a $510 donation to Oakland Parks and Rec Foundation, brought to you by East Bay Community Energy. OPRF provides financial and volunteer resources and advocates for recreation programs and parks in Oakland. Now, for the record, not cousins.
No. Not at all. Come on, Joe.
Josh Dolan comes into the match now for Greg Hurst, hoping for New Mexico that their change of the number 9s can produce the same result for Oakland. Couple minutes after coming on for Pelaez, Rodriguez scores. Now it's Dolan in for Hurst. Rodriguez again.
Finally for Oakland, you know, we talked about this throughout the first half, basically, how they were able to create opportunities out of the build-up, and it was beautiful to watch, but it was at the same time frustrating that they were not able to put that final touch in.
And just a few moments after you mentioned they forced the pass to the right side for Rito, what happened? They passed it left to the other side. Diaz to Formella, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I think Diaz, you know, he can be a really good asset for this team, but I think he needs a little bit more confidence moving forward on the left side, and this type of play is going to help him a lot.
Mufeka, almost so. How does New Mexico work back into this now? Again, small sample size, only their second game of the season, but haven't yet scored from the run of play. 85th minute penalty for Portillo in the last one is what got them their 1-0 victory. That was their first goal they'd conceded this year. Johnny Rodriguez twice this year off the bench onto the score sheet. Did it against RGV, does it tonight. And Johnny Rodriguez came into this season with 4 goals for the Roots. He is one of 2 remaining holdovers from Oakland's Nisa days, the other being backup goalkeeper Taylor Bailey. Last year, he didn't see a lot of time, Johnny Rodriguez. 24 appearances, all 24 were off the bench. He had just 2 goals. The year prior, he had 13 starts with 2 goals in 2021. Came off the bench 7 times as well for 20 total appearances. So just 4 goals in 44 games. This year, 2 and 3, more prominent role growing into his time as a professional. It's his 3rd pro year in USL Championship. He's just 24.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to talk to another Gala prior to the first match of the season. And when asking about Johnny Rodriguez, the one thing that he mentioned is that he's having a great preseason, having a good preseason. He was one of the players that he highlighted actually before the start of the season. So, you know, it's sometimes in preseason you go and you have a different mentality once you're an experienced player. But for Johnny, it was an opportunity to show the coaching staff, I'm ready. And now he's showing it in the regular season.
Showing the fans he's ready too. This is also the first lead Oakland has had this season. We're trailing a 3-0 scoreline against San Antonio in the first game. Looking essentially again toward Rodriguez, cleared away. And it was a 1-0 deficit against RGV that they erased in the 82nd minute, courtesy of Johnny Rodriguez's first goal of the season. So how will they deal with the lead? And how will New Mexico fare when trailing for the first time this season?
Formella, aside from the assist, but Formella is having probably his best match of the season tonight. It's just outstanding.
Rodriguez finds Rito. Eduardo Rito tries at the near post, puts it wide. Roots fans, get your Fem 4-pack available starting at $94 for 4 tickets and 4 drinks. Call 510-488-1144 or visit oaklandrootssc.com for more information. And if you can't get out to the game, you can catch it all on ESPN Plus. In 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN Plus. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. You wonder when New Mexico maybe makes another change. They brought in Dowling, the backup striker, for Greg Hurst. See if he could spark something different. Have Sergio Rivas as an attacking option on the bench as well. Here's Dowling pressing, hasn't had a chance yet. No service sent his way, which is reminiscent of what happened to Greg Hurst. He never had the ball played his way while he was in. Rodriguez commits the foul here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. You know, it's an interesting decision from Zach Prince and the coaching staff for New Mexico, because you basically put the load of not having opportunities inside the box on Hurst, where, you know, he never actually got the ball where he needed it. So obviously, you know, you bring a new player in, new energy, fresh legs, and you try to change things. But I think the problem for New Mexico is not necessarily the striker at this point.
And if they could start getting the service in for Dowling, he knows how to finish. Dowling had 9 goals and 3 assists last season with St. Louis City 2 in MLS Next Pro. That was his first season as a pro player out of college at Missouri State University. 4-time All-Conference at Missouri State.
Oh, he's
heavy
off.
challenge here, and that's it. Yep. Second yellow for Portillo. So Oakland up a goal and up a man. And that's huge for New Mexico, not only tonight, but next week.
Absolutely.
Portillo, when they go on the road against Monterey Bay, will not be in the equation. 2022 team MVP.
And to be honest, this is surprising to me because usually Portillo, it's well disciplined on the field, and he understands exactly what this means to his team. I think it's a good call.
Sometimes it's harsh when it's the second yellow. They don't always look like they're deserving of a red, but that's the purpose of a second yellow.
Thing is, the way the game is being officiated, you know, if you're on a yellow card, you really have to be careful tonight. More than any other night, probably,
Absolutely.
in the 2023 regular season.
You got the year right this time.
There you go.
Portillo, an early shower. Right off the restart, Mafeka to Rito. Rito to Rodriguez, tried to flick it on. Here he is again, saved by Tambakis.
Man, so close, Rodriguez again. It's not the best first touch, and he probably had a better chance at the assist if he moves the ball through the middle, because I think Formella was right in front of goal. But, you know, you're feeling it. You just scored a goal. You're fresh, off the bench. You know, it's hard to ask Rodriguez to pass the ball at that point.
Two changes being ready now for New Mexico. It's the aforementioned Sergio Rivas and Joshua Suggs.
No corners for New Mexico tonight.
Taken quickly by Mafeka to Diaz over the head of Rodriguez. Shouted handball. Oh, they had a case. The 46-95 in attendance. Also think it should be Oakland setting up from 12 yards out.
Listen, it's a handball. I get it. And the fans are doing their job by complaining. It is a handball. But if it happens on the other side of the field, you don't want that call on you. Let's be honest about it. I mean, how do you prevent that handball right there?
Case of the ball playing the hand, not the hand playing the ball. It's Moore coming out for Suggs. And Moreno coming out for Rivas. So again, that attendance, 4,695. That's on 4 days' notice for Oakland. Going from Laney to Cal State University East Bay, getting the word out to their fans. And it's just a testament to some of the fervent fan bases we have here in USL Championship. Granted, it's not a hike. It's 15 miles. It's 25 minutes. We mapped it out on Google Maps before the game, just out of curiosity. But to still see on short notice nearly 5,000 when the record at Laney for attendance is just over 5,000. So almost at your not official home.
Yeah.
Eclipsing your attendance record on 4 days' notice. This fan base is crazed about the Roots, and they are 15 minutes away perhaps from their first win of the season after an 0-1-1 start.
And to your point, I think, you know, for both of these teams, if there's one thing that never disappoints, it's the fans.
Oh, absolutely. In Albuquerque and Isotope, at the lab, as they call it, New Mexico, outstanding. Their home crowd is one of the toughest places to go play in this league. Not only because of the fans, but also because of the altitude.
Right, yeah. But from the first day, you know, New Mexico United, outstanding environment. And I think, you know, the same, we can tell the same about Oakland Roots.
Elsewhere, it is 1-1, Monterey Bay and San Antonio. Nico Hansen got the goal 8 minutes in for San Antonio. And Sam Gleadle in the 63rd for Monterey Bay. Got about 20 minutes there as well. It is 1-0 Phoenix over San Diego. Manuel Arteaga in the 35th minute with the goal for Phoenix. And from bad to worse for Louisville on the road against Sacramento. 3-0 at halftime. Now it is 4-0 Sacramento. Wow. So if you're keeping score at home, Louisville 3-0 loss against El Paso last weekend. 4-0 at the moment. They're down against Sacramento.
7 goals in 2 matches.
Very uncharacteristic. And I was taking a look at the lineup for Louisville as well. There were times last year where throughout the season they had injuries and a congested schedule. Last week against El Paso, I had a chance to call that game. It was a normal representative 11. They were lacking some depth to bring in some subs at halftime because of some injuries, but it was a normal 11. And it wasn't the depth that was the issue that night. They were down 2-0 at halftime. And tonight against Sacramento, taking a glance at what the 11 looks like, it's their normal 11, and they, in fact, got a couple of bodies back who they were missing last week. They were missing Brian Owenby to a red card. They were missing bright young star Joshua Winder to international duty. They got those guys back, and they're trailing 4-0. Something going on with Louisville right now. I'll have to figure that out.
Well, let me tell you, I have a feeling their opponent in Open Cup is going to pay the price for this
it's going to be a fun matchup because it's Lexington of USL League One. So for the first time, we get that all Kentucky, all USL matchup between Louisville and Lexington.
Now more than ever, they're going to go for that game.
Probably right. Although on the flip side, after last year where Louisville put so much attention on Open Cup and they pushed so far into the tournament, do they say, you know what, we got to correct ourselves in the league play right now after 2 losses and rotate there so they're good for next week? So maybe not necessarily the case. And look out here on the back end. Blanchette has to stop in his tracks, receiving the ball from Clementa. Rodriguez jumped without even looking at it. Happened to come off his head.
Well, this is where, if you're Oakland, you have to make the decision. What do you want to do for the last 13 minutes of the match? Do you want to defend with the ball? Do you want to look for that second goal and seal the deal? What do you want to do? You need to make that decision on how to close out the game.
Daniel Bruce in the match for Chris Wehan. So they've used 4 subs, have 1 remaining, but New Mexico has utilized all 3 substitution windows. So they will carry 1 substitution with them forever and ever tonight. On the other side, Oakland has still just made the 1 change. Elias out, Rodriguez in, and it's made all the difference. Graciano all the way back to Blanchette. Jose, when was the last time that New Mexico camped out in the attacking third and had an opportunity, maybe a gift here on the errant clearance by Blanchette to set something up? But for a team that's down 1-0, they haven't had that urgency, haven't had the chances.
No sense of urgency at all, which is surprising to me. Obviously, now playing a man down, you know, it's a lot harder. But I think, you know, they just haven't been able to figure out Oakland and the way they're playing defense tonight. They're very well organized, and they just, right there in the middle, they just haven't been able to find the right pass at the right time. And I think that's credit to Oakland.
Very arduous task now ahead of New Mexico. Coming back into this game, down a man. Second yellow picked up by Justin Portillo in the 71st minute. Yearwood clears it away. Bruce brings it down. Daniel Bruce, 30 appearances last year, most of those off the bench, only had 14 starts. 2 goals and 3 assists. Paco Craig leads Miami FC into Kentucky to face Josh Winder and the reigning Eastern Conference winners, Louisville City FC. Don't miss the start of the new season of USL on ESPN, Saturday, May 13th at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Maybe by then Louisville will have it figured out a little bit more than they do right now.
By the way, Paco scored tonight.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
That's a rarity.
They scored a header.
So it was a 1-1 draw against Memphis. Watch out at the back. And it almost seems at the moment like the only way New Mexico is going to get back in this game is if Oakland invites them back into this game. But right now the Roots want to slam the door shut. Play to the backside, taken down by Mafeka. Lindo, saved by Tambakis, skimmering toward the back post. And almost an own goal, almost Mafeka on the second chance.
Well, a couple chances there for Oakland. And finally, they were able to take advantage, you know, of New Mexico being a man down, because this long ball opens up so much space on the left side. And then it's Formella who's able to bring the ball in. Rito was right there, but Mafeka gets the opportunity, takes the left-footed shot, and it is blocked. And in the rebound, he gets one more chance, and the shot goes wide. So, you know, it's part of how do we take advantage of New Mexico having a man down. And they have chosen to use the long ball because that would allow them, you know, to keep them compact defensively. And then you take the risk with the wingers, which you know they're going to be aggressive and they're going to come back to you.
Set pieces for New Mexico or mistakes from Oakland? I don't know if there's another way back into this right now for New Mexico.
Yep.
They have one here, not necessarily in the most advantageous position. High line being played by Oakland. Bruce airs it out. Flicked along, it almost fell for Dolling. And now releasing to Rito. Eduardo Rito has Rodriguez streaking down the middle. Still Eduardo Rito. Late whistle. And it's for a foul against Rodriguez, away from the ball, jockeying for position.
Well, that's an interesting call. Here's another look. I just don't see it that time.
Their legs get a little tangled. I don't know if there was intent. I could see where the call came from. Now Formella, seeming like Oakland is going to have a few of these chances now. Rodriguez stopped by the offside flag this time. But that's 3 times now in the last 3 minutes that it's opened up for them in transition.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Rodriguez is making a case for a start.
Where is Eligio Araguin going? It looks like he's sauntering over to the New Mexico bench. Is he going to send off the head coach? Or is that an assistant who picked it up? It was an assistant.
And one more.
All
this
right.
one for a player.
Greg Hurst.
Yep.
I just saw you scratch the highlighter on Hurst over on your card, just in case he picks up his second yellow from the bench.
You never know.
Yeah, they all count. You got to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So an assistant coach gets the first yellow, as Araguin was walking away, doubled back, and got Greg Hurst. At this point, with just 5 and change to go before stoppage time, New Mexico has to focus not only on trying to find a way back into this game, but making sure you're no more shorthanded next week against Monterey Bay than you're already going to be, with Portillo's red card tonight in the 71st minute.
Yeah, that's a big miss already. But, you know, it could get worse.
You already have a yellow card to your head coach. You already have still yellows out there for Hamilton and on the bench for Moar and Hurst.
Looks like there will be another one here.
And that one goes for Memo Diaz on the other side of things. Jojo Nane in, Napo Masoso out.
And here's an opportunity for New Mexico to steal a point. You know, that's the only way for them to get an opportunity here out of set pieces. And obviously, with Nane coming in, you know, that sends a message throughout the middle. No other Gallo is trying to just seal the deal here, play good defense, get 3 points.
Nane recently turned 36. Already has his eye on coaching beyond his playing days. Was the head coach, acting head coach of Project 510 when they played their Open Cup match. In the previous round, they lost that opener. Bruce from the free kick. Body's there, clad in yellow, and Blanchette meets it. He's going wide anyway. Took no chances. By doing so, he almost spilled it back out in front.
Yeah, it was not a great ball, but still, you know, the ball was good enough to give an opportunity that time. You know, when you kick the ball so high, then you leave probably 70% of the goal to the striker, and what you want is the striker just to get the touch to bring the ball in. So when it goes so high, then you not only have to win possession in the air, but then put a good shot on it. So it's a challenge. That's why it's not a great ball.
Elsewhere, still Phoenix 1-0 near the hour mark over San Diego. 4-0 Sacramento in the closing moments against Louisville, and still 1-1 between Monterey Bay and San Antonio. Oakland on the brink of its first victory of the season. Open with a loss at San Antonio, a draw at RGV. 1 point out of 6 on the road. Not ideal, but not bad against those two caliber opponents. Can they pick up all 3 here? And can they do so with an insurance goal? Corner coming for Oakland, or not. That last off of Formella, goal kick coming.
And with the venue change and everything that went behind this game, I think we have to give a lot of credit to Oakland, the coaching staff, the players. You know, you usually want to play your home games at Laney, of course, but you know, it feels like tonight it did feel like a home game for Oakland, and you know, that goes with a lot of work, and for the fans, it's good that, you know, their team was able to perform, because I think Oakland put out a good performance. You still have 2 minutes plus added time, and anything can happen. That we can end up with a draw here. But as of right now, I think, you know, Oakland is showing good things. Not only tonight getting 3 points if they're able to hold on to the result, but throughout the start of the regular season, I think they're showing they're a good team.
Drop back for Suggs. Volley from distance by Hamilton goes wide.
We didn't see much from Hamilton, especially in the second half. And, you know, it makes me really think about that yellow card. It didn't necessarily mean a red card for him in the second half, but I think the yellow card really, really limited him in the middle of the field.
And this New Mexico team, if this turns out to be a loss and they don't rescue the point here in the late stages, one thing they can hang their hat on at least is that they're finally going to get into a rhythm after this week. Remember, they started their season 1 week after everybody else. And their first game was on March 18th. Then they had another idle week after opening on the 18th. They were off last week. So stop, start, stop, back at it again tonight. But after tonight, they play every Saturday for the foreseeable future. And a midweek this week in Open Cup as well. Rito gives it up to Nane. Nane, now it's Formella. Out for a corner. 4 minutes tacked on at the end of this one. And rhythm is so important, especially in the early stages of a season. You can only replicate real game action so much in intra-squad scrimmages, in friendlies against opponents in the preseason. You need that game time to figure out what's working, what's not, what can you improve, what do you need to build upon. And to go off week play in the first 4 weeks of the year doesn't bode well. But again, after tonight, they get into that rhythm at Monterey Bay next week.
Yeah, that's obviously very important, and you know, it's the same goes for Oakland. I think there's great potential here for both teams.
Denaciano put it wide. San Antonio, a late goal, 85th minute, ahead 2-1 on the road against Monterey Bay. Oakland, after hosting their Open Cup match on Tuesday, will travel to Indy 11 next week. And again, New Mexico traveling to Monterey Bay. Down a man, down a goal. Can New Mexico United persist and find a way anyway? 9 shots tonight, 4 on target for this New Mexico side, but they haven't had any real chances since going down a man. And they're on the wrong end of this call. A couple of players protesting for a corner, but goal kick the verdict. They'll be missing Justin Portillo next week. They're already down a key midfielder in Christian Nava, torn ACL in training Monday. Trayvon Reed comes in for Lindo Mafeka.
For Trayvon, every minute matters, Joe. He's one of those players that I see potential for him, but, you know, just like Perlaez, I think he needs minutes. With this roster, just getting to know his teammates, that's what he's missing right now.
And Kevin Wright gets to make his Oakland Roots debut, subbing on from Memo Diaz. Wright, one of the offseason acquisitions for this Oakland team, the 24-year-old from Essex, England. Spent the last couple of years mainly in Sweden. Started in the Chelsea Youth Academy at age 10, Kevin Wright. Capped internationally with Sierra Leone. Started all 3 of their group matches at the African Cup of Nations in 2022. And Jordan Farrell, technical director. He was actually a Cal State University East Bay alum back in '05, played soccer on this field for the Pioneers. But technical director, look out here ahead to Rito, foot race. He's usually going to win those, but great positioning by Suggs. But Kevin Wright, they feel, can be, as dangerous as this sounds for Oakland, another Rito on the left side. Has that same attacking-minded profile. Just a little bit of paperwork issues getting him going at the beginning of this season. That was the hold-up and getting him out onto the field. But he's there now. And Rodriguez wins it, chips it over the top. Brought down by Wright on the right foot. Rodriguez in the corner. Whistle could come now at any second. That whistle just for a foul call against Rodriguez. And right now, if Eligio Araguin blows that whistle with all eyes on him, it'll be Johnny Rodriguez with the game-winning goal. Past the 4 minutes now that we're given. Rodriguez flicked it along into the hands of Tambakis. Does New Mexico have another chance left in this one? Errant punt from Tambakis. Formella racing ahead. Cleared away. Oakland's bench just begging for that whistle now, past the 4 minutes given, almost into the 5th minute of stoppage time. 5th full minute, I should say. Almost into the 6th minute. Down in the corner for Formella. Darek Formella wins a corner kick. They won't need to take it. There's the final whistle. The Oakland Roots have their first win of the season. Johnny Rodriguez in the 63rd minute, his 2nd goal of the year, and that was all they needed tonight, keeping a clean sheet on the back end against New Mexico United.
Overall, a great performance from Oakland. I think they were able to, you know, be solid defensively. That's where they started. Even in times where New Mexico had possession, they were still good with the ball. They were patient. And then late in the second half, they were able to find the lone goal that gives them 3 points, which obviously they generated quite a good amount of chances, especially in the first half. They were able to capitalize in the second. A good overall performance for them.
The 4695 in attendance continue to celebrate, and after this we come back to wrap things up from Cal State University East Bay, where the Roots pick up their first win of the season.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Wouldn't it be great to have delicious, healthy meals delivered right to your door? No planning, shopping, or prepping. And what if your delivery was full of plant-based, fresh ingredients that truly nourish and fuel your body? Try Thistle. Our in-house chefs create a new menu each week for you to choose from before it arrives ready to eat. No prep needed. And for a limited time, you can save $100 off your first 4 weeks. So go ahead and autopilot your diet. Get started today at jointhistle.com.
Oakland Roots celebrating the victory. New Mexico United dealing with their first defeat of the season after a season-opening victory. They were reduced to 10 men in the 71st minute, and at that point, it all kind of came for them at once. They gave up the goal in the 63rd. It went down a man in the 71st. Uphill battle after that. We'll take a look at the full-time highlights brought to you by UCSF Health for Oakland's first win of the year.
Yeah, overall, I think an exciting match. You know, several opportunities, I think, for Oakland. It all started really with this shot from Santimora that hits the post. You know, we don't think that, you know, at this point, New Mexico did enough to get the lead, but they were very close to it.
And from that point on, New Mexico would really only have this last good chance in the first half, and even so, it was right to Blanchette.
Yeah, it was not an easy save, but, you know, the position and did it for Blanchette that time. In the 63rd minute, back in the second half, Johnny Rodriguez on the field just a few seconds after coming on. And it's a build-up play, and that's nice to see for Noah Delgado and the coaching staff. It's Formella who gets the ball inside the box, moves past the goalkeeper, then brings it back in, and an easy finish for Johnny.
His second goal of the year, he scored in the 82nd minute of the 1-1 tie against RGV, and tonight he produces the game-winning goal, and they could have had more as that half wore on the Roots.
Yeah, and this obviously a key moment, not only in tonight's match, but probably in the next one as well for New Mexico United. It's the second yellow card for Portillo. Off he goes with a red. And then after that, it was really, really hard for New Mexico to, you know, move the ball past the middle of the field.
Full-time stats on the evening. Everything really went Oakland's way in this one from start to finish.
Yeah.
Always felt like they were the better team tonight.
13 shots. That's a very good number, even though only 3 of them were on target. But if you look at those shots and the way they were able to put the attackers in that position, then you're very happy if you're Noah Delgado.
Well, the next time these teams will take the field is Tuesday night, both hosting their respective Open Cup matches against lower division sides. And then next Saturday, it's on the road for New Mexico at Monterey Bay, and on the road for Oakland, Eastern Conference matchup against Indy 11. And that does it for us tonight. A temporary home for the Oakland Roots at Cal State University East Bay in Hayward, and home sweet home tonight as the Roots pick up their first victory of the season. New Mexico, their first loss of the season in just their second game after having a couple of bye weeks in the early going here. And that does it for us tonight. For the terrific crew that makes this possible and my broadcast partner, Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malfa saying good night from Hayward, California, where the Roots take all 3 points in their first win of the year.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.